Gem International is a new diamond explorer in the richest diamond-producing country in Africa, located next to the fourth largest producing diamond mine in the world. International Spotlight is on an 1109-carat diamond recently discovered in Africa by a fellow Canadian junior with a proven operator and finance team. Gem International trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol GI. Visit us at gemdiamondmining.com.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mish Shedlock, editor of Mish's Global Economic Trend Analysis on MishTalk.com. Welcome back to the show, Mish.
Hey, a pleasure to be on. We got Brexit, we got social anger, we got Donald Trump all in one chart.
And how does that all wrap up, and how's it all associated?
Well, I don't think we all know how it's going to wrap up yet. There is still a chance that actually doesn't happen. Until the UK actually files the petition to leave the EU, we're still in a state of limbo. Now, Merkel is talking extremely tough here now. After the first day, she said, "Well, let's not revenge. Let's not stick it to the UK. Let's have discussions. Let's let them take the time." One day later, it was, "Hey, guys, speed up the process. Oh, and by the way, don't expect us to give you any favors in the negotiations." They said, in fact, until you file the papers, we're not even going to talk to you at all. So this is playing with fire here. There's a very real chance of a collapse in global trade. Germany exports way more to the UK than vice versa. The UK is Germany's third biggest export partner, and as far as imports go to Germany, UK is 9th on the list. In terms of overall trade policy, the great UK is second into contributing to Germany's net fiscal position, net balance of trade position. So, I'm wondering who's bluffing who here, but these things can sometimes take off on a tangent of their own when people just don't think clearly. What's happening is the EU is very concerned that this might start a chain reaction, so they're trying to talk tough to prevent a chain reaction. Well, they might cause a different kind of trade chain reaction, a collapse in trade.
Well, some Brits I've talked to, especially older people, will tell me, we fought 2 world wars to keep Germany from telling us what to do. And we didn't appreciate it today.
Good point, don't you think?
Yeah.
I posted on my blog, Great Britain has sided with Germany and against Germany and with Italy and for Italy and on every side of every war. And it was real funny sitcom on a British TV comedy called Yes Minister, where a guy explained how, very, very fitting, how the only way the UK could destroy the EU was to get in on it and get in the middle of it, and you know what? It's funny. This is exactly seems to be what's happening here now. There are a lot of events going on that are all wrapped up in this, and actually none of them are any good, at least from the standpoint of the nannycrats who are trying to keep this all together.
Well, the British are known to be real interferers when it comes to everyday life. The city council won't let you do so many different things, yet they're relatively free once you look at the EU and the onerous regulations they put on things like the curvature of bananas.
The curvature of bananas, how red apples must be. There's dozens of regulations on pillows, although some people say that these were extraneous words, somewhere, and the regulations really aren't on pillows. But we're just talking about massive piles of regulations on everything. I still believe what really kicked this off was Chancellor Merkel welcoming all these refugees with open arms, and people got afraid. They got afraid in Hungary. They got afraid in Austria. They got afraid in along the entire migration path through Germany. Germans got concerned and afraid. UK got afraid. They said, you know what? We don't want to be part of this anymore. We don't want to have to live by these rules. Today, 4 countries came out and said, you know what? The EU is wrong. We don't want a United States of Europe. And anyone, actually the Polish second prime minister came out and said that, we don't want a United States of Europe. And Jean-Claude Juncker, the head of the European Commission, precisely wants a United States of Europe. That is his goal, without a doubt. So, we've got leaders now speaking out against leaders on what should happen. Hungary was in on this. Hungary and Poland, Slovakia. They said they have had enough, and that these leaders ought to start thinking about, the needs of sovereign countries. 2 countries, actually, came out and said they want Jean-Claude Juncker out of there. They're tired of him. As the Czech Republic was in on it. So the countries are Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic. They issued a joint statement. The genuine concerns of our citizens need to be reflected. National parliaments have to be heard. That's a pretty loud message, don't you think? Is Jean-Claude Juncker going to hear it? No, he's deaf and drunk.
Well, the whole idea of the European Union was to ease trade, and then they thought, well, the movement of workers, that goes along with that as well. If we have a shortage of computer programmers, we can just bring a few over from France or Poland. But it's the social issues that really have people upset. It's like they want to take away your language. In Britain, they don't want you to be able to sell a pint of beer. The EU wanted them to get rid of their traditional double-decker red buses in London because they don't meet EU standards. London without things like that, well, I might as well just stay home.
Exactly. And that's what it is. The whole idea of the EU, I don't object to it. If they want to get together and say, let's have free trade, then what? Let's have free trade. Let's have free movement of people. I don't object to that either. I do object to free movement of people outside the EU. In other words, people coming in from Turkey, Syria, Africa. I also would object, if I lived over there, the rules that stipulate on top of free movement, well, once these people are there, you got to give them, this and this and this and this and all these kinds of benefits. So, that's where the problem was, and that's what the UK objected to. And it wasn't the fact that these people could just go over there. It was they could go over there, and all of a sudden they're unemployed, and now they're entitled to benefits. So that was the objection, not the freedom of movement. So at least as best as I understand it, so all of these rules, on top of rules, on top of rules, is precisely what led to this. The arrogance of people like John Claude Juncker, who just think, that they can impose all these rules, on the people, and that they're the God and they know what should happen. Well, the people revolted. And I'm getting ready to write a post. It's precisely on, this kind of arrogance. Brexit was actually caused because of this kind of arrogance. And, here's a post, an article on Foreign Policy magazine that actually said the elite leaders need to rise up against the masses. I mean, talk about getting it ass backwards. The stunningly amazing levels of arrogance. And of course, this guy is going to now tell Poland, Hungary, it's time for the elites to rise up against the ignorant masses, says this jackass for Foreign Policy magazine. I am going to write a blog on that because this is precisely the attitude why the UK voted to leave the EU.
And then we had Mitt Romney saying, the problem with democracy is the people keep getting in the way.
Yes, the problem, exactly. And so we need these benevolent rulers, but you and I don't get to pick them out. This jackass from Foreign Policy magazine does.
We'll have more with Mish Shedlock right after the break.
Gem International is a new diamond explorer in the richest diamond producing country in Africa, located next to the fourth largest producing diamond mine in the world. International Spotlight is on an 1109 carat diamond recently discovered in Africa by a fellow Canadian junior with a proven operator and finance team. Gem International trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol GI. Visit us at gemdiamondmining.com.
I'm Larry Ray, President and CEO of American Manganese, Inc., listed on the TSX Venture, ticker symbol AMY, A-M-Y, with proprietary patents in the U.S., China, and South Africa. Our focus is on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. China recently legislated the responsibility for recycling onto their electric vehicle manufacturers and importers. For more information, please visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mish Shedlock. Mish, I know in previous shows we've talked about the rise of the robots, how in China, for example, Adidas has fired all their workers. They're up to maybe 1 million people and will have robots make their shoes in Germany. But the EU now is talking about putting a social services tax on the robots, calling them electronic persons.
Yes. This is another reason exactly why, people should say, go to hell to the EU. It's stupidity. They want to stop technology. They want to stop the advance of technology. The EU has nothing to do with free trade. It is anti-free trade. And worse yet, these hypocrites don't even see it. France carved out a special protection to save the small French farms. As a result of that, as a result of the EU letting French preserve its cultural farms, everybody in the EU has to pay more for fruits and vegetables than they otherwise would. Meanwhile, France was the biggest flag waver, saying, you know what, we can't give the UK, any leeway on financial services. So this is what it is all about, and it certainly has nothing to do with free trade or the advancement of free trade or what's good for the people. The people would like lower prices for taxis. People will like Uber or they wouldn't be using it. People like these kinds of things, but the bureaucrats have said, you know what, no, we don't want it. We don't want lower prices. We want higher prices. That's what these idiots have said. And as a result of that, people are being squeezed by inflationary policies, monetary policies of central banks in general, started by the Fed, and wages aren't keeping up with the prices of goods and services. The top 20% is getting ahead, at least in the United States. I don't know what it is in Europe. But the bottom 80% in the U.S. are back below where they were in terms of medium purchasing power, of medium power family income, back to a level of 1973. That's where we are. And so it is no wonder that people are mad, and these guys can't put two to two together and understand that it's central banks that are doing this. And guess when it happened? This thing all started to escalate and spiral out of control in 1971 when Nixon closed the gold window. It ended convertibility of dollars into gold, and it allowed central banks and governments to inflate at will, and they did.
Italy's zombie banks, you fear that they're going to be facing, at least for their customers, are going to be facing a little Cyprus haircut.
Absolutely. That is totally guaranteed to happen. The question is one of time frame. It appears to be that there's going to be bail-ins, just like has happened to Cyprus, and any depositors that has money in banks in Italy ought to get them out right now. This is exactly the same warning that I issued in regards to Greece. This will be even worse because Greece, they just instituted capital controls and didn't give people access to their money. In Italy, these depositors are going to be bailed in like Cyprus and lose portions of their deposits. That's what's in store. Italy's prime minister is trying to fight that, trying to get permission from the EU to bail out the banks by government policy instead of bail-ins. Chancellor Merkel said, nope, not going to happen.
And it's that kind of arrogance that got the Brits all pissed off.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that, well, in a way, Britain doesn't want to be any part of bailing out Eurozone problems. I don't think the voters in the UK put two and two together, but effectively, yes, they are avoiding this. Of course, the UK is, still on the British pound, fortunately for them, not on the euro.
Well, and you look at countries like Italy and Greece with economic problems. Back in the old days when they had their own currency, they could devalue it and have their number one industry, tourism, pick up because they would be a bargain. If they're using the euro, it's expensive.
It is. There's pluses and minuses to that. It's really impossible to devalue your way to prosperity. It just really can't happen. If one could do that, Greece would be one of the most prosperous nations in the world. It's not. Is it a short-term fix to a problem? Yes. But what happens is they do it. They never fix the underlying problem. They do it again. They do it again. They do it again. This is why, actually, the majority of people in Greece want to stay on the euro. They're tired of all of these devaluations that their country has done. Yet they're revolting against the rules, work rules that would allow people to be fired, against rules to get rid of all the regulations that make it extremely difficult to start a business. Of course, no one wants to start very few people want to start a business in Greece now because of the conditions there. And at the same time, they're mad at the EU and Germany and the IMF for imposing, rules upon them that are literally destroying their countries. They are getting hit from both ends. They're angry. They don't see their side of the problem, but Germany doesn't see Greece's side of the problem. So this is going to fester again, and eventually, one way or another, I thought we saw it coming, in that last election, but nope, Greece caved in to the demands of Germany. Well, there's going to be another one. There's going to be a time when they're going to say, no, we're not going to do this anymore. And guess what? The first country that does that might very well be Italy. Beppe Grillo's Five-Star Movement is the number 2 political party in Italy. If these banks get bailed, if the banks bail in people, and these people lose their deposits, Renzi is going to be gone, and likely to be gone, and someone in there that's advocating get the hell off the euro might be elected. This is what's going on. These are the battles being fought. Nobody knows how it's going to play out. Nobody knows the time frame in which it plays out. I thought Greece would have been gone by now. They're still in there. Maybe Italy is actually the first to leave the euro.
Mish, thank you so much for talking with us.
Pleasure to be on. And I'm going to be gone next week, so we'll catch you in 2.
Have a great Canada Day and a great Independence Day.
Oh, I will have a fantastic Canada Day, and I hope to have a good 4th of July.
I have relatives on both sides of the border, and we do like to whoop it up and turn it into a 4-day weekend.
Yes. Catch you in 2.
Thank you. My guest has been Mish Shedlock, editor of Mish's Global Economic Trend Analysis on mishtalk.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Questions for the show can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Happy long weekend.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.